So I've been shooting with Fujifilm on my spare time for more than 1 year, and the experience has been great. I'm really happy with my X-T30 Mark II camera, but prior to that and sometimes now when I don't have my Fuji camera with me, I still take some photos with my iPhone. And if the conditions are good, then even with a smartphone you can take actually great shots, there is no secret about that. The only downside in smartphone cameras for me was that the telephoto lens quality usually was worse than of the main camera, and I like the telephoto focal length better than the main wide cameras. With that being said, not long ago a Sandmarc team reached out with an offer to test their smartphone lenses. Then I thought, oh, so maybe this would be a solution to avoid using the telephoto lens that has worse quality, but instead to use the main camera with that telephoto lens attached to it. So I agreed to test it and recently went outside while there was the annual spring fair in the city and shot with the Sandmarc Telephoto lens attached to my iPhone 12 Pro. So if you are interested to see some sample images in a POV style video, stick around till the end of the video where I will share my thoughts on whether it is worth to buy such type of lens or not. This video isn't sponsored by Sandmarc, so I can freely express my opinion. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you find this video useful, and let's go to that spring fair to shoot some people.
Kiek reikia kelių ar kaip, aš nesuprantu.
So what are my thoughts on this Sandmarc Telephoto lens? By the way, let me know what do you think of my shots from the annual spring fair. I quite liked few shots of some interesting people. But speaking about this lens, first of all I must say that the product itself is well made out of glass and metal, well packaged and comes in a good set, including the case, pouch, small carabiner, cloth for cleaning and a clip to attach it to the smartphone. With this lens I also received a leather case for my iPhone 12 Pro, which is fortunate because I was thinking of getting a leather case for my iPhone for quite some time, but couldn't find a good enough one since my iPhone is a bit old now and there aren't many good quality accessories left for it. So I got lucky with that leather case from Sandmarc that also has a MagSafe, and the metal frame around the case to which you screw on the lens also acts as an extra protection for the camera bump. I also like that the Sandmarc logo on the case is very subtle and overall the quality feels nice. I can't wait for the leather to patina and see how it wears out. But back to the lens. One thing I enjoyed the most while shooting with this lens attached to my iPhone is how comfortable it is to hold the smartphone with this lens. With the lens attached to the iPhone I could just rest it on my hand like with some kind of pop socket and it made it much easier to take pictures. Usually it's not as comfortable to hold a thin rectangle in your hand, but with this lens it's much more comfortable and you don't notice the increased weight of the smartphone at all. However, with this lens attached to the smartphone you won't be able to put it away into your pants pocket. So while shooting I would put it in my shoulder bag instead of my pants pocket. The lens itself screws onto the lens securely and I didn't have any doubts whether it would fall off. Although when I unboxed it and tried to screw it onto the case I managed to do that maybe on the third try only, but since then I got used to it. Now let's talk about image quality. This Sandmarc lens sits between my iPhone 12 Pro wide and telephoto lenses, but it is more towards the telephoto lens but a little less zoomed in. If we compare an image shot on the Sandmarc lens attached to the wide lens and a shot made just on the wide lens but cropped in, then obviously you will see that the quality from the Sandmarc lens is better because we kept full resolution without cropping. When comparing the Sandmarc lens to the telephoto lens on the iPhone, I must say that I like the shot made with the Sandmarc lens better. I always felt that shots made on the iPhone telephoto lens are too sharp, making them look a bit artificial and lower in quality. However, with the Sandmarc lens there isn't a problem with that. To my eye, shots made with the Sandmarc Telephoto lens look more natural, although sometimes they get a little softer towards the edges of the image. Now where it gets interesting is when I attach the Sandmarc lens to the iPhone's telephoto lens. I thought, well, if I already don't quite like enough shots from the iPhone telephoto lens, then an additional lens will ruin image quality even more. But I was wrong. With the Sandmarc lens attached to the iPhone telephoto lens, the images look a bit better, because now with the additional lens the image gets a little softer and as a result, in my view, the images look more natural without that artificial sharpening. That was quite a surprise for me, and if I had made this test prior to that spring fair shooting, I would definitely also shoot with the Sandmarc lens attached to the telephoto lens, not only to the wide lens. In the end, I must admit that I have been satisfied with the Sandmarc lens because firstly it made telephoto shots look more natural and also gave me an additional focal length being attached to the iPhone's telephoto lens. Is the difference this big? Apart from the additional focal length, the actual difference between telephoto shots isn't that big. But it is enough that I would definitely keep this lens in my bag in case I won't have my Fuji camera around. If I would like to take some shots, I would do it with this Sandmarc Telephoto lens for sure. Also, I think it can make a great gift for a photo enthusiast because it is a kind of a thing that can be useful. By the way, I will leave a link to this lens in the description below with a discount code if I will be able to get one. And if you use it, I might get a tiny chunk of it that will help to support my channel. So if you enjoyed this video, found it useful and considering buying yourself this or another lens from Sandmarc, please use the link and the code below. This way you will support my channel as well. As always, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe so you won't miss my future videos. But for now, have a nice day and keep shooting!